8:36, Good Policies Time with Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning. This is not that much of a difference from Veterans Day in the past. I remember, yes, I was a band geek. Anyone who knows me is like, yeah, we knew that. I was in the marching band for St. Johnsbury Academy trying to walk down Eastern Avenue in the Veterans Day Parade without falling. But it's something that happens. But what a day. Having, my father's a veteran, both of my grandfathers, actually, my grandfathers-in-law were both veterans. And I salute all the veterans today. Best friends, cousins, everybody. I've got all branches of the military that I could mention. Just a great day to honor those who have served our country and did so willingly and so well.
Well, the last I heard, my son is still serving in the Air Force proudly, and I heard that he and his wife, I don't know if he has any kids or not yet, but they moved to Alaska to the Air Force base up there. So
wow.
I am a proud soldier, Dad, that's for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to mention here, and I mentioned this a couple of times throughout the morning and throughout the week, even if it is a blustery, cold, wintry feeling day out there, there's no reason to not go out and honor our soldiers.
They did a lot more for us than you are for them, even if you do go out today.
Like, I just played American Soldier from Toby Keith. They can't call in sick on a bad day. They can't not go to work on a cold, windy, blustery day. So
right.
Even if just taking a moment, like yesterday when I stopped up here to Nick's to gas up, there was a fella there with a little yellow Chevy Cobalt, and I saw in the back he had one of those frames around his license plate, and it said Vietnam veteran. So I went over, and he's sitting in the car, and he was looking at me like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And he rolled his window down. I just reached in, and I shook his hand, and I said, thank you very much for your service.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
It's the freedoms that we enjoy every day thanks to their dedication and sacrifice.
Yeah. So actually, too, in our conversation today, I understand from our brief chat here before we turn the microphones on, we're talking veterans, too, aren't we?
Yeah. So I'm excited. So I serve on the agency council for Vermont for one of our insurance carriers, Ohio Mutual. And they give discounts for certain things. If you're an educator or a first responder, you can get a discount on their home and auto. They're adding veterans later this month, which I think is so awesome. So not active duty, but veterans will be another credit available to those who are with Ohio Mutual going forward. And I'm like, that's really well-deserved. I think that's a good idea. So I was excited to be able to see that was happening. I only found out about that at our meeting in Burlington about 2 weeks ago. I think the go-live date on the auto is going to be November 19th, and then I'll know more on the home coming soon. But just a nice thing to know.
I think that's fabulous. And actually, we've got news for veterans coming up here that we found this morning as well. But let's not deviate from our path here. I mean, brave men and women, I think they deserve.
I think it's credit where credit is due, to be totally honest with you. So something to think about if you are with Ohio Mutual and you are a veteran. Let it be known to your agent that you are a veteran and you would like to take advantage of that credit going forward. I think that's a great thing. It's not always going to be the case where your insurance agent knows you're a veteran, because not everyone discloses that, or not everybody asks that. So just be aware that that's an opportunity. It's not a huge savings, don't get me wrong, but anything that comes down a little bit in price is a good thing. And speaking of that, we are starting to see, and I'm almost afraid to say, how when somebody says, how's your day going? And you go, fantastic, and you quickly look for a piece of wood to knock on? Well, that's what I'm doing. So we've been talking about this hard market for 4 years, Jeff. Made it through. I can't believe we're essentially on the other end of this hard market, and I'm starting to see. I had meetings last week with Trusted Choice and the Independent Insurance Agents and Brokers of America. Had some flight issues, so instead of being in Virginia where I was supposed to be, I did it virtually because I couldn't get down with there was a bomb scare at DCA when I was trying to fly to Burlington, and it pushed my flight back by like 7 hours. So I'm like, I'm not going. So I drove back home. But I did join in, and we are starting to see some glimmers of hope of a softening of the insurance market. Now, what does that mean? It means prices are stabilizing. I mean, its profitability is back to where it really should be, could be. It's a nice recovery. This also may lead with some companies, if not all, that will see some loosening of the straps on underwriting guidelines. Not saying they're going to start taking things they wouldn't take, but their scrutiny may be a little less than it has been for the past 4 years. And Jeff, I had hair 4 years ago. If I took this hat off, you would see a lot of eminent domain of the forehead taking place. So,
well, I'm just going to take the opportunity here to explain to our listeners, because you and I have talked about this many times, what the hard market is and why it is. Okay, you said 4 years. So about 4.5 years ago, the entire country was being impacted by wildfires, not only here in the contiguous states, but we had the wildfires in Hawaii. And then shortly after the wildfires continued for a couple of years, we had flooding in the southeast, in the northeast. We were impacted 3 years straight here in the kingdom.
Yeah.
And due to all of the claims and all of the payout, that's what drove the market to hard, right?
Right. And COVID played a big role in that too, Jeff. And what COVID did is it did a couple of things. It made it so that materials were becoming a little more short by supply. When the material supply is short, what happens? Because the demand didn't go down. The demand was still there. Prices go up. So we saw significant increases in prices and the cost of vehicle repair, home building and repair, things of that nature. So those on top of those catastrophes that you mentioned really just compounded an issue that was getting out of control for the insurance industry, and it really needed to be corrected. And I think they've done a pretty good job. In my humble opinion, I think some companies might have overreacted on certain things, but that's just my personal opinion. In the grand scheme of it all, yes, it was a hard market, but it was also a bit of a market correction to better gain the appropriate premium for the cost being incurred for claims. Again, we haven't seen those prices go down. $166 a square foot to build a builder's grade quality home, back in 2019 is now $300 a square foot today. I don't see that changing. I do see it leveling off, though.
Well, we did just mention the natural catastrophes that caused or had an impact on the insurance market, but also, too, the real estate industry has impacted that, too, because a home that was previously valued at $150,000 to replace it now isn't $150,000.
Not even a little bit. No, it's gonna be well north of that figure all day, every day. And I always tell people, remember, homes have 4 values on it at any given time. You've got the town appraised value. Don't ask me how they calculate it. It can vary per town, but it's a method used by the towns to justify a tax rate. Then you've got the market value. What's it going to sell for? Then you got the bank appraised value. That's when you're buying the house for market value, and the bank is looking to make sure that the value that you're paying is really what it's worth. Those 3 numbers can greatly vary. And then you got me, the 4-headed insurance guy, going, here's my value. And you look at me like I'm crazy, right? You bought a house for $600,000, and I'm telling you got to insure it for $900 because the cost of materials has gone up. So these are not corresponding numbers. And with the recent reappraisals in a number of the Northeast Kingdom towns and North Country towns, very important to know that your town appraisal really does not impact your insurance whatsoever. So.
But it does impact the tax rate because you have to factor into things like education.
Yeah. So that's one thing to think about today for sure. And that's really, Jeff, all I got. I mean, our office is closed today. I'm obviously working myself, but we gave our staff some time off today, and I'll be on a handful of appointments before I wrap up my day.
Well, let's do this, and before you tell everybody how to get in touch with you, let's go back in case somebody joined in here a little bit late, and let's just remind our listeners about Ohio Mutual's new discount for veterans.
Yeah, so Ohio Mutual, they have long had these credits that are available for first responders and educators. They have a couple of other ones, believe it or not. Insurance agents can get a discount as well. We don't deserve it, but thank you for that, Ohio Mutual. But they're adding veterans, which I think is fantastic. I think it was a timely thing to do. And starting November 19th, they have an auto product that's a new and improved auto product that it's a re-envisioning of what they've been doing for years, and it'll be part of that. So we're excited to see how that shapes up.
All right, give them your contact info.
Sure, give us a call, 748-5224. You can find our office on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
And with Magic in the Morning at 8:35 on Tuesdays.
Absolutely.
All right, we're headed to our Hometown Minute with Beans Homes. Right now it's music from Ed Sheeran on Magic.